Welcome back to Detroit Sports Plus, and look who we have here.
Whoa.
Wow.
Feels good to be back.
Where'd you come from?
Sore eyes.
It's bigger.
Emphasis on the sore eyes.
Yeah.
It's bigger than I remember.
You know what they say, never get into a bidding war with Detroit Sports Plus, and we just gave Ben an offer he couldn't refuse to go back.
That was how I got a vacation, you know?
Details were not disclosed.
No, none of that is public.
I used up all my vacation, so the only way to get that week off was to quit. Just come back.
Well, we're happy to have you back, Ben. And you
back.
know what better way to welcome Ben back than with some hot takes? I mean, hot takes were like his bread and butter.
You know
this
what,
whole
though?
thing.
It's kind of like those veterans that don't sign until after training camp.
Yeah.
Ben was like, I'm going to skip this summer. I'm going to come back for football season.
I was like, I got a lingering issue. Just
What do you think?
Ben and
couple
Zadarius Smith were just hanging out.
yeah. Although I'm still married.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's coming back hot. Got it. Ben, how you been following the Lions? What do you?
Yeah, you know, as much as I can.
Yeah.
Following you guys, listening, you know, all the time.
So what did you see in the preseason game? What interested you?
Well, this past one, I just wanted to see if Hendon Hooker could step up at all, and that just didn't happen. So I think, you know, the biggest takeaway from that game is Kyle Allen has to be our backup quarterback.
The Hendon Hooker era is coming to a rapid end.
Did it ever begin?
But I mean, he was the number 2 quarterback for
Yeah.
a lot of the last 2 or 3 years or whatever. Has it been 3 years, 2 years?
Yeah.
And
This whole
both
run.
years they brought in other veterans to kind of replace him at some point in the season or before, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
I think we just have to admit it just didn't work out.
I think if you now knowing what we know and seeing what we've seen from Hendon Hooker, you can look back at some of the moves that the Lions made, and like we should have been reading in between the lines that like they were clearly showing a lack of confidence in this guy.
You don't
And
just
it's
bring
even-
Teddy Bridgewater off the street
Off a high school
because
field.
you trust the backup.
Yeah, exactly. And like Hendon Hooker, he had flashes, but like you said, I mean, it's not like they're bringing in guys who are, you know, overly established, and these guys are beating him out regularly.
Nate
so.
Sudfeld.
Hendon
forget.
Hooker is the ultimate example of the backup quarterback is the savior as long as he never has to play or get on the field. Because everyone, I remember years ago, we were like, ooh, is it Hooker time? Oh my God, he's awful. It's just laughable that we ever thought that this guy had that potential to overtake Goff.
10 times scarier now knowing what we know that potentially these last few Lions seasons could have hinged on Hendon Hooker if Jared Goff
Yes.
would have gotten hurt.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a
was
rare
that
miss.
Is that the main takeaway from you guys from this most recent preseason game is that Hendon Hooker has ceded the second quarterback lead to Kyle Allen?
Yeah, because you can't even trust Hendon Hooker playing, you know, 4th string players on another team. I mean, he still looked like he was struggling out there. So this whole Hendon Hooker experiment, I'm done with him. I mean,
I'm done with him.
Does he make the practice squad? Is that where he ultimately lands?
Yeah, it could be. I think, you know, you look at Brad Holmes' drafting record, it's stunning, right? You're going to miss once in a while.
Yeah.
But then you think about, man, like what he's done with 3rd-round picks since he's been here, and that they used it on Hendon Hooker, who is basically never going to play a value, you know, any snap of any value for this team.
Yeah, it hurts.
It hurts because, you know, he could have got someone in that spot that is contributing or has contributed by now. And really, it's a total miss of the pick. But
Yeah.
I was going to say the other thing that I got from preseason is that the wide receiver room is stacked, and that competition for those last 4 or 5, that 4th and 5th spot is going to be really fun to watch.
Plus,
in
I'm
this
happier
last game.
with Kyle Allen as a backup because I have to constantly call Hendon Hooker Hendon in front of my 12-year-old son. So that's a lot better to avoid the snickering. But that's
What do you call Isaac Tesla to your son?
Tesler. Yeah. I love Tesler.
Yeah, Ken and I were talking a little bit before the show, and it feels like Tesla has like maybe even cemented himself already as the number 3 wide receiver. Obviously, you don't count Laporta in that, but the Lions have sort of had a little bit of a rotating number 3 the last few years, and they went out 3rd-round pick, right? We were just talking about
they
3rd-round
traded.
pick.
They traded up
Traded
for
him
him.
Yeah, and it looks like they got a really good value.
It's just one of those guys that you always see on draft day. Brad Holmes goes and gets those guys that he wants, and then you see him on the field, and you're like,
It works.
I see it. I see it.
I see him, and I'm just like, Brad Holmes did it again. I fully expect Isaac Tesla in 2 years to look like Cooper Kupp. I mean, anything less than that, I'd be disappointed.
Okay.
I think we've hit a. I think he's going to be a star, and I
You guys
think
like anything less than Jerry Rice, and I'll be disappointed.
Well, Ben is our resident wide receiver overreactor. So
yes,
Yeah.
and I think if Tesla is really good, I think it opens so many doors to what we'll be discussing next offseason with JMO and all of that. But I think Tesla was a really, really smart move by Brett Holmes.
I have to call out our guy Jason Colthorpe for a take he had this morning. He was talking about it was twofold. From what he's seen from Tesla, he thinks that basically closes the door on any chance that the Lions extend JMO beyond his rookie deal, which I agree.
I agree.
And also, he thinks that Tim Patrick could be in danger because of the emergence of Jackson Meeks. What do you guys think about those?
Jackson. Okay, so I think that Tesla is going to start the season in the third wide receiver spot. You got Tim Patrick is out. He's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. Khalif Raymond, he's kind of just an everywhere guy. I don't even look at him as the third receiver, and I don't think the team wants him to be the third receiver.
Yeah.
So I think he slots in right there, and if he's on the field being productive, Tim Patrick is going to have a hard time getting that spot back. I don't know that even if he comes back, he's going to be splitting snaps in that spot with Tesla.
It's going to feel like Donovan Peoples-Jones had that role a couple years
Yeah.
ago, right? Where it was like, well, we need 5 wideouts, so like Tim Patrick gets on the field. Yeah. What are you thinking about Jason's hot takes, Ben, as the chef?
Is it a really hot take when you're talking about the 5th or 6th option in this
What about
offense?
your guy JMO though, specifically on that front? Like, do you see JMO as good as he was last year, as good as you probably expect him to be again this year, as someone who will be around long term?
No, because I think that we do exactly what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill. I'm really hoping JMO has an even better year this year because that just means a better return. But I think he's shown you enough in the past few years. I just don't trust giving him $100 million. So I think he's got to prove himself to be a big trade component after this offseason.
I think you want to nail down a number 1 receiver, which the Lions have done. I don't think you want $100 million invested in 2 different wide receivers. I mean, especially with a lot of the guys that the Lions need to still extend. Do you want to keep Brian Branch around or do you want to keep JMO around, right? So, yeah, I think they're sort of being proactive in making sure that the wide receiver room is stocked up in anticipation of, letting JMO fade into
I
the
just can't
sunset.
belie what I'm hearing from Ben Bell.
The JMO
I
guy.
love
Claimed
JMO.
that
I
JMO was
love
going to be the
JMO.
number 1 wide receiver last year to this team, and now he's preemptively trading him away. He's hoping he has a good season, not for the Lions' benefit as far as on the field goes. He's like, just increase your value so we can get you out of town.
You've changed, man.
I'm with Brad, man. This is a business, all right? Business decisions got to be made.
It's strictly business, not personal.
Ken and I need a couple of minutes to react to this. So we're going to come back and we're going to dive into the sign stealing scandal. So we finally have the results of the Michigan sign stealing investigation. I'm sure you guys were spending your whole weekend combing through all 74 pages. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You did your homework. Yeah.
Every single
ChatGPT
page.
at me like, give me the update.
No, I read your article on clickondetroit.com.
Yeah, we at clickondetroit.com did comb through the whole thing. You can see all 86 takeaways if you so please.
How did
but,
you? I like that your takeaways are more than the pages.
Well, several takeaways per page in some cases.
Impressive.
But you guys are privy to what the findings were. What stood out to you that you didn't already know, or that you don't think was sort of the headline news from this?
Honestly, nothing. I mean, seriously though.
Yeah.
I mean, not there's some interesting tidbits in there and about specific people. I mean, there's like some things we thought like coaches did that they didn't do, some things that we thought coaches didn't do that they did. Like there's stuff like that, but
Yeah.
like nothing that really changed my perception of the situation or the scandal or anything like that. And I thought the punishment that came down was pretty much what we expected as fans. So.
I'd say what we expected. Yeah. What I'll say to the punishment, the most interesting thing about the punishment section to me was that the NCAA was very explicit in being like, this warrants a postseason ban. The exact verbiage was a multi-year postseason ban would be appropriate. So basically, I took it as a way that they're trying to appease the people who are demanding a ban and saying like, you're right, this deserves a ban, but then they can say, but one of the pillars of these investigations is trying to punish the people who actually did the act. And so they basically took the ban and they found a financial equivalent for the ban and gave that to Michigan, which, we all know that's dropping the bucket for Michigan.
Do you think that anyone in the college football world cares about this outside of Michigan State fans and Ohio State fans and maybe Penn State fans?
If you just say outside of rival fans, I think everybody's tired of it. Yeah.
It's not like everyone. It's not like all these like programs or fans in college football are like, yeah, Michigan needs to be punished for this. They shouldn't be in the playoff.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think so.
It's mostly just like Jack Sawyer who keeps talking about it. Yeah.
Owen Foyer.
Yeah, Owen Foyer. Yeah, no gold pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, like people who want blood, who want Michigan's blood are the ones who care.
There's not that many of them.
Yeah. Unless Michigan got a postseason ban, it didn't really affect most of college football. Most people are just like, whatever, they cheated. We hate them.
Yeah.
End of story. And that wasn't going to change no matter what the NCAA found.
Here was my reaction when Ohio State had Tattoo Gate.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's kind of how I feel now. I'm just like, okay, it came down, $20 million in fines, and, they don't have to, take away any wins. They're not going to try and take away their championship, which I always thought is stupid because I've watched them win it. You can't take it away. You can't wipe my memory like Men in Black. But no, it's just one of those things where I feel like up here we're all, there's a lot of people that are like, crazy, just mad and upset that it wasn't enough. And then other people who just want to turn a blind eye and think Michigan did nothing wrong. I'm in the middle where I'm just kind of seeing everything going on. And nothing really surprises me because, I didn't think Michigan was going to get a postseason ban. The NCAA just doesn't seem to really put the hammer down on Michigan as a school that hard. So I wasn't expecting a ban.
Have you ever been completely innocent of something and just happened to throw your cell phone in a pond right after it?
No, but I can't wait for the next documentary on all
Yeah.
this, or a movie, because this is all, it's so fascinating how this all went down. It would make a better movie for sure.
Just based on like pure shock factor. That was the moment where I was reading and, legal A's is just like making your brain numb. And then it's like Connor Stalions admitted that he shattered his phone and threw it in a pond. And I was like, what? That's very strange behavior for a man who went on Netflix and declared his absolute innocence.
Yeah. I felt like even on Netflix though, he kept things a little vague.
Yeah. Or he'd like smirk,
Yeah, they would just show him smirking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe I did it, maybe I didn't. And here we are.
Yeah, he maintains his innocence. I was also interested that they broke down a little bit more of the Sharon Moore stuff. We all knew that the Sharon Moore accusations centered around deleted text messages. This actually broke down what happened. So basically, Sharon Moore heard the reports about the sign stealing operation and deleted the text message thread with Connor Stalions on his personal phone. The next day, Michigan's compliance office sends out a preservation notice, basically saying, don't delete anything. And after that, he deleted one text off his work phone. He initially denied doing that, but at the end of the day, he did come clean, and they were able to recover all the texts. That's why his violation was a level 2. He didn't get the Jim Harbaugh treatment where they basically said, you're banned for life, and we know you're not going to respond, so we can say whatever we want. Yeah, they basically gave Sharon one extra game and said it was enough. What do you guys think? Is 3 games enough for that?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not going to lose any
He
sleep
doesn't get to
over
go to Germany, though, guys. Come on, the opener against Germany.
That is a bummer for him. But
Yeah.
I think so. I guess I don't have a reference point, but like, sure, I think like.
let's look at the other coaches.
My thing is like, let's just get this over with and move on because I'm just tired of it. Honestly, the college football world should thank Michigan for this because look at the technological advancement that they have pushed the NCAA and the Big Ten into this. No more signing, on the using cartoon characters and random emojis and like, no. We're in the what century? We're in the 21st century, and so people should be thanking Michigan and Jim Harbaugh and Connor Stalions and Sharon Moore because they have pushed us into the future.
All I see is just a bunch of people passionate about their job, man. That's all I see.
Dedicated to winning.
That's interesting, Ken. All great martyrs are first looked down upon.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I think like 20, 30 years from now, we'll be like, man, Those guys were way ahead of their time.
That's right.
They pushed us forward when we needed it.
Can't believe J-Mo got us 3 first-round draft
All
picks
right.
after his great season.
Yeah.
I know.
Connor Stallions, noted good guy.
Noted, very noted. Good.
All right, we're going to take another quick break and talk Tigers. All right, Detroit Tigers have 36 games left in the season. We saw the 15.5 game lead over Cleveland shrink all the way down to 5 in about the span of a month, but they've sort of weathered that storm and got it back up to 8.5. Ben, how are we feeling? Are we panicking? Are we back to where we were?
No, there's no panic because, I mean, we knew a slump was going to come at some point. It's baseball. It's a long season. And that slump came. And they're out of it now. So we're all right. They, like you said, they weathered the storm. We knew the storm was coming. If they were, if they were like 2-7 in their last 10 and they just stayed around that range, oh man, I'd be hitting the panic button. If their lead in the division was like 3 or something like that, yeah, that would be total panic mode. But they're back up to 8.5. We're good.
Ken, you were notoriously worried 3 games into the season when the Tigers got swept by the Dodgers. And I remember
They're 0-3.
the fear in your eyes as you asked me, are we okay?
Yeah.
And I told you yes.
Yeah.
Were you that worried this time around?
Well, okay, so they're out of the slump, which was like losing most of the games. I wouldn't say they're back to where they were earlier in the season. They're kind of been hovering around maybe like above 500 ball right now, which is better than 10% of winning. You know what I mean? Like, I guess we'll take it, but they haven't gotten back to that spot where they're just dominating teams, winning every series. And so I'm not concerned, but I feel better that they're not losing every game for sure.
The Tigers are in a weird spot right now because, like you said, everybody has a bad stretch over 162. You're lucky if it's only 1, but 11 out of 12 is like a severely bad stretch. Like, you don't see that from every playoff contender. The Tigers have pulled out of that, but the dominance isn't there. You see cracks in the offense. You see a starting rotation that's really missing Reese Olson. Even Tarek Skubal hasn't been the same the last couple of starts. But for Ben, it's the bullpen, right? You're worried about the bullpen?
Yeah, the bullpen was so dominant last year with the pitching chaos. It just felt like that was a real weapon, and it just kind of took the rest of the league by surprise and what A.J. Hinch was allowed or able to do. And I don't know if we've got that firepower right now. But at the same time, this team reminds me so much of that 2006 team that, was blowing everybody out, and then they backed into the playoffs that year. I believe they fell. They ended up being a wild card team, and then they went to the World Series. Because when you get there, it's baseball. It's a long season. They still have all the pieces to be effective and play small ball in the playoffs. So I think they'll be just fine, and I think we'll go to the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? I mean, are we just are the Tigers just in an August lull? Like, this part of the season is kind of like,
I think there's something too when you jump out to a huge lead in a baseball season and you're like, okay, can we just start the playoffs now? Like you show up to the ballpark every single day and we're playing the Twins again. Yeah, it's a little bit human nature. And the Tigers collapse happened so quickly in part because right when they were having their bad stretch, Cleveland out of nowhere, despite selling at the trade deadline, got super hot. So those games just sort of started melting away every single night to the point where it was like, how are we 5 games up? Like, this is clearly the best team in this division. But now, coming into town right now is the Houston Astros, and this is a team that could be in contention for a bye with the Tigers because they're currently the leaders in the AL West. So the Tigers need to win 2 out of 3 to even up that season series. My question to you guys is, do you put any credibility into the fans who don't want the Tigers to have a bye? Because I want to read you a couple of stats. In 2006, they ended the ALCS, notoriously swept the Oakland Athletics on October 14th, didn't play the World Series till October 21st, so a week off. 2012, October 18th, they swept the Yankees. Didn't play until October 24th. 1-8 in those 2 World Series games. If the Tigers get a bye this season, they'll have 6 days off in between the end of the regular season and their first playoff game. Do you care about that? Do you just say, whatever, I want the bye, or would you actually like to see them play in the first round?
No, that doesn't matter to me because this is a completely different team, completely different players, new coaches, or new manager. No, there's got to be no correlation to how those past teams, performed after a long break.
You just drop a 13-year-old stat.
Conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually interesting, though, because since MLB has introduced buys to the playoffs, teams that have received a bye are only 29, have lost 29 of 49 series. So it's like there is some data to back up that taking a week off when you've been playing for 6 months straight could be a detriment.
But you are playing a better team in the second round.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, as opposed to playing in the first round.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like it's just, like, I feel like the playoffs in baseball are 50-50. I don't know. I just feel like that's true. And, you know, if you look back at those other Tigers teams, like, you had a lot of veterans there. It was an older team. You had Jim Leland was like chain smoking the entire time, like in the, the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, like it was a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a young, motivated team, and AJ Hinch is a very different manager than Jim Leland was. So I don't know. I don't think it's worth tying those things. I will say, you know, it in sports in general, we tend to do see sometimes when a team has a long break in like in the NBA, if you sweep a team and then your opponent goes 7. And you're playing like a week and a half later, and they're coming off of a lot of momentum, off of like a big Game 7 win or something like that. It
can matter.
Yeah, that matters sometimes. So it just depends on the scenarios.
Yeah, for sure. And your point about it being such a 50-50 proposition in the playoffs, it's like if you win your division by 16 games, that's a blowout, right? But that's over 162. A playoff series is only 7 games at most. So you're talking about 4-3 is basically that same 162 game pace, which is why you just got to get in, and then you never really know. I think the Tigers are easily going for the bye. They'd love to have a team coming in and they're pitching Tarek Skubal game 1, Casey Mize game 2, and then if you do get to a game 5, you've got Tarek Skubal ready to go again. So you just take your chances with the rust and throw your best out there.
I agree.
Yeah. Tigers playoffs, Lions coming up.
I thought you were going to say
I'm back.
The recent
Ben is
curse.
back.
What a time to be alive.
Because the Lions had to bye and they lost. I thought you were going to say, like, is this a Detroit sports thing? Do we not want bye weeks?
No, we're not. No. All right, for Ben and Ken, so good to have you back, buddy. I'm Derek. Thanks for watching DSP.